Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Gotham Episode 1 video. They're rolling hard on Batman villains, including a lot of Suicide Squad villains. So just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. I think the show's already a lot better than it was last season. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of new Batman villains that are on Gotham, even some Suicide Squad characters. And let's just start at the top. So we'll say, number 10 WTF, Killer Croc is in Gotham now. Now the way they're explaining this version of Killer Croc is that he has not fully become the Killer Croc that you just got done seeing in the Suicide Squad movie. So I'm expecting the makeup to evolve. Like if you think he looks kind of weird, like, hey, this doesn't look like Killer Croc, that's just because he has not fully become Killer Croc yet. So number 9 WTF, they're swapping Lee for Valerie Vale, who is kind of like the show's version of Vicky Vale. Everybody probably got that, even if it's been a long time since you've seen a Batman story or a movie with the Vicky Vale character. In fact, they actually went for a Michael Keaton Batman movie Easter egg, when in that movie, Vicky Vale is in the newspaper headquarters talking about the Batman, but nobody knows who he is, and they make the joke about him being a vampire who sucks people's blood. So Valerie Vale on the TV show gets the shot of the vampire hanging out the window. So that's just kind of like a meta Easter egg for the Michael Keaton Batman Vicky Vale storyline. But this person here on the TV show, just to be clear, is Valerie Vale, played by Jamie Chung. And I will say, far and away, she has way more chemistry with Gordon. Like, you kind of see what they're doing. They're swapping her character for Lee's character, who's like off in the suburbs somewhere hanging out with this dude. I totally love Morena Baccarin, but I feel like the way they were using her on the show just wasn't that great. So Valerie Vale already seems like a vast improvement, just the way they're using her on the show, in the way that they're tying all the characters together. Like you have Valerie Vale, the news reporter, doing what normal news reporters would do, tracking down a story, building leads. Catwoman is the big lead for her story, but Gordon comes to Miss Peabody separately through Bullock. So you have all these different characters interacting in separate ways, but at the same time converging at the same point of the episode. So the way they built the episode out, the way they plotted it, was actually really good. I'd say this guy is a pretty good approximation of TV show Man-Bat, but there were vampire versions of a lot of characters in the Batman universe. Even Batman himself. There was a vampire Batman for a little while. So I'd say this guy's closer to Man-Bat because of the actual physical wings. Be pretty cool that they're doing him. He's pretty far out there in terms of characters. But next one, enter the Penguin, and you have another Easter egg for the Danny DeVito Penguin, more Michael Keaton Batman callbacks. So a lot of the TV show is inspired by Tim Burton's version of Batman. But if you remember Danny DeVito's version of the Penguin, he tried to do some politicking, like he tried to present himself as this candidate for mayor. Hey, I'm this wonderful upstanding member of the community just trying to look out for everyone's welfare. And TV show Penguin is doing the exact same thing, like trying to present himself as this upstanding member of the community. Look, all these monsters are loose. You should be scared of them. We need to get rid of them. And somebody was in charge. Like he tries to throw Fish Mooney under the bus. So he's trying to use the threat of the monsters and the police to take control of the city again. But number 7, Day Drunk Gordon, Day Drunk Bullock, couple big changes inside the police department. So if you didn't know, Jim is not on the police force anymore. He's working as a bounty hunter. The mayor's put out bounties for all the different monsters. And thanks to the Valerie Vale quote, we know there's between 20 and 30 monsters loose. So like Gordon can make a lot of money by bringing them in. So that's what they're going to have him do this season, just because it allows them to have a little more fun with the character, and because it allows Ben McKenzie to play Gordon in a more fun way. And he pretty much tells that to Bullock when he's explaining why he hasn't come back to the police force. I can drink whenever I want, I can come and go when I want, and then Bullock's like, hey, I can drink whenever I want to too, and just like takes a swig. That was probably one of the funniest moments in the episode, getting day drunk at the police station. But speaking of getting drunk, number 6 WTF is the Sirens Club. It's a very not subtle reference to Gotham City Sirens, which is where you arrive at Harley Quinn, Catwoman, who's hanging out at the bar too, and then eventually Poison Ivy, who's turning into like this sexy version of the character who will prey on men. So eventually she's going to turn up at this nightclub. So I would expect to see a lot of comic book Gotham City Sirens stuff happening on the TV show. But if there was any confusion, Barbara, we'll say, number 5 WTF, Barbara is the TV show's version of Harley Quinn. So what they said about the character in the past is that they were going to do her, but then more recently when they were at Comic-Con, people were asking them again, and they said, well, she might already be on the show, we just haven't put the costume on her yet. Like she hasn't become the Harley Quinn character fully yet. So instantly I was like, oh yeah, that's probably Barbara. Who is the only batshit crazy female character who vaguely resembles Harley Quinn in the comics? Oh, Barbara, right away. She even had brief moments with Jerome, who was kind of like the TV's version of the Joker. And they did say that Jerome is coming back. So, number 4 WTF, we will have Harley Quinn Joker stuff happening maybe in the second half of the season. Which I know, like number 4 WTF, a lot of people were wondering, who is this character? Is this Lincoln March from the comics? Is this Thomas Wayne Jr.? Is he going to turn into Talon? So here's what I think about this, because they haven't really said anything about him. They've just been calling him Doppelganger Bruce. And there are 2 big characters in the comics who both look like Bruce and try to take his place. One is Lincoln March. That was part of a Court of Owls storyline. They're doing Court of Owls on the TV show, so I'll explain his backstory in a second. But the other character is Thomas Elliot, who's Hush in the comics. So right now I'm leaning closer to Lincoln March just because of all the overlap with Court of Owls in the way Lincoln March's backstory works in the comics. Basically the gist is that Lincoln March tells Batman that he is Thomas Wayne Jr., secretly the son of Bruce's parents, the older son, like the first son that they had, who was left in an orphanage and then taken in by the Court of Owls and groomed to eventually take Bruce's place. So it kind of seems, because Indian Hill is where this doppelganger came from, seems like the Court of Owls may have had something to do with his creation, and it seems like they are grooming him to take Bruce's place so that they can fully control Wayne Enterprises, because Bruce had that scene at the end where he's like, I know that there are members of a shadowy organization in this room, I want a meeting with them, and then he walks out. He's basically telling the board that he knows that the Court of Owls has a plant and he wants to communicate with them. So you guys can let me know in the comics, but I feel like this character, even if they change a bunch of comic book stuff, is going to be the Lincoln March character. My number 3 was that last scene at the Sirens where they just all have that funny moment where like, okay, this is all stupid. Butch very clearly wants to get in with Tabitha again, sent this dude after us, so they just slice him up, and Penguin just shoots him, finishes him off, and walks off just like grumbling to himself, fine, run your club, do whatever. I just think it's a good example of well-written Batman humor, because Batman stories typically involve like really dark people, so as you would expect, a lot of the jokes rely on really big WTF twists. So they're funny, but they usually involve someone dying or getting hit by a bus. So number 2 is the end of young Poison Ivy, and maybe some of you didn't know that they were bringing an adult Poison Ivy on the show. They've been hyping her up for the last couple of months. So there was a lot of question as to how they were going to transform young Poison Ivy into adult Poison Ivy. Was she going to go into a chrysalis? Was there going to be some sort of metahuman explanation for it? So I'm guessing the next time we see her, she'll be like climbing out of the water, like wherever the sewer ended up dumping her, and she'll be an adult. But finally, number 1, the Talon comes for Bruce, captures him, brings him before the Court of Owls as he requested. He wanted an audience, he got it. So as with all things, you always expect Batman to win. So ultimately, yeah, Bruce will take down the Court of Owls, but for now, they are a very powerful shadow organization, and he's a little kid, doesn't know anything about them. So while Fish Mooney is definitely a villain during the season, the real villain, like the true villains this season, are the Court of Owls. But let me know in the comments, like, what did you guys think about the episode? Do you like that they're doing so much more comic book stuff? It definitely felt like a real comic book story. So I think the show's done a lot of really good course correcting. I like the direction that it's headed. So I don't know if I'm going to do videos for it every single week. I'll definitely do an episode 2 video just because like there's nothing else that's going to be on Monday. There's no schedule conflict. But eventually, Supergirl will be on Monday nights at the exact same time. I'm going to do a Supergirl episode 1 video, so I'll just try to remind everyone how the schedule's changing as we go along. But I am still doing the DC giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. It's just for the Flash Season 2 on Blu-ray. And what's going to happen is like the Flash isn't back for another week or so, but there'll probably be a new trailer tomorrow, so I'll do a video for that if it posts. There's probably going to be a lot more DC TV show stuff happening in the next couple weeks just because all the TV shows are coming back. But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is also premiering tomorrow, so just heads up, I will be doing a video for that tomorrow night. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for the big Supergirl Season 2 Superman trailer, and you can click here for my last big Flash trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.